Why do so many people, especially top performers, struggle to ask for help before things become severe, for instance?
Great question. I think a lot of this has to do with stigma
Yeah.
and also with the perception of what people will think, particularly of top performers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think, in fact, sometimes top performers, their identity and their sense of self-worth is tied to
Their job.
their job, their
Yep.
job.
Yeah. Job performance.
Exactly. And so when you ask for help, it feels
Hmm.
like you're admitting a failure. And if there's anything that I want people to take away from this,
Hmm.
it's that asking for help is not a failure, it's a sign of strength. Because if you get the help that you need, you will only do better for yourself. Top performers, many of them have a lot of perfectionistic tendencies, right? They have a lot of high standards. And so they think that any interruption in that just signals some kind of incompetence, or they've lost their autonomy, or they are not normal in some way. And I think that's why people who are top performers can struggle more. And
Yeah.
so it's even more important at that point, in my humble opinion, that if you're
Yeah.
noticing changes in yourself, or somebody else has noticed it in you and has said something to you,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really do listen to that and you try to seek out help. And
Hmm.
people can get help in ways that are very confidential. They don't have to announce it to the world. They can get the help that they need, get treated just like they would for any other condition,
Yeah.
and carry on with their lives.
Yeah. If you could redesign how we talk about mental health in whether it be workplaces or schools or even within our families, what would you change first? What would be the big thing that you would want to change about how we talk about mental health, especially in the workplace?
Okay, that's a big question. And I think first and foremost, we actually need to talk about mental health. I think it needs to be a priority
Hmm.
in every setting, workplace, schools, communities.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to be normalized and not seen as a pathological condition. And if people with mental health conditions can start to talk about their own conditions, I think that's enormously powerful, especially leaders and people in positions of authority, because it just shows everyone else that it doesn't really matter what your status or your title or your position may be. We can all struggle with these kinds of issues. And it's important to get help if you need to.
What would be the first step in getting help? Do you have recommendations on where to go or what to do when you are feeling overwhelmed and it just keeps getting worse and it's not getting better? It seems like it's going to last forever.
So, where do you turn to get help, right?
Hmm.
When you're feeling overwhelmed. And I think first and foremost, you have to be able to identify that you are feeling overwhelmed, right? That you are having these thoughts. And the first thing to do is to be able to talk about them with a trusted person.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know how you're feeling and have a strategy in place. If you're overwhelmed or you're feeling like you're really at your wits' end, what are
Yeah.
you going to do to get yourself out of that moment? And that may be things like practicing the mindfulness and building the resilience. But
Hmm.
again, if this is persisting and you're not able to get that change the way you're feeling, then it is important to seek out professional help with
Mm.
primary care provider, with a therapist, with a psychiatrist, through your EAP, through, again, if it's an emergency, through emergency resources. So every
Yeah.
state has some different resources that they can offer.
Okay.
But there are resources that can be tapped into when people are feeling like they're really struggling. And we can
Okay.
provide a list of those resources as well. I think, again, talking about mental health
Yeah.
is key. And talking about difficult topics does not make you weaker, it makes you stronger. And
Hmm.
you can really help other people if you can show them that you can get help when you need it. When you're trying to build resilience, you want to build your network of support. You want to let others know how they can help you and know your stressors and the signs and symptoms signaling that you might need help and how you're going to cope with stress. And I think it's just important that we try to support one another as much as we can by normalizing
Yeah.
conversations around mental health
Yeah.
and integrating them into every environment.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. So it sounds to me like opening up the lines of communication really is the first step. Just be able to define how you're feeling, and then also to share that with people that could help you, or at least, at the very least, point you in the direction toward resources to